Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars? If we don't, I mean, where are the Democrats going with this? If Mamdani is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that.
It seems the socialists are firmly taking over the Democratic Party, and Mamdani's election as New York's mayor just cemented it. Even the party leadership appears to be embracing his radical socialist agenda. A shift that could create serious problems for the DNC. That's exactly why Maher stepped in, calling out where the party went off course and showing how it might still recover. Let's dive in.
Guy he just brought up. That's who you're all going to have to answer for. So I got to get your answer. This is Mamdani, if you've been following the news. He won the Democratic primary in New York, so he's certainly likely to be the next mayor. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of opposition because we've never had someone this radical. Some of the things he says, prisons were obsolete. What purpose do they serve? I could think of a couple. The NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. I think most people think cops are protecting their public safety, even though there's issues and problems with the police department. Do you like capitalism? No. We've never had a guy quite like this. You know, he quotes Marxist, each according to their need. I mean, that's straight up communism. Whether you call it the abolition of private property, you call it housing guarantees, it's preferable to what is going on right now.
Maher actually raised the alarm about Mamdani months before the election. And while it's still early, something tells me his warning is only going to look sharper with time. He spotted the red flags long before anyone else did. This isn't the first time Maher's political instincts proved accurate. Remember when he warned the DNC against nominating Kamala Harris for president? They ignored him, thinking they knew better. The result? One of the most humiliating defeats in modern American political history. It's almost as if the party has a habit of repeating its own mistakes. Maher isn't a prophet, but he has an uncanny ability to see trouble long before it arrives. And judging by his track record, Mamdani's rise could very well be the next chapter in the DNC slow-motion decline.
I mean, just the phrase abolition of private property, not something we usually hear in America.
There's always a villain. There's always people. They always try to create a villain. Is my point. They always try to create some boogeyman or boogie. No. If it wasn't this one, quotes. It was going to be somebody else.
I'm not creating anything.
I'm not defending the policies. There are plenty of things that I disagree with there, and that I don't come down on.
You're going to have to answer everything like this. They're going to ask every single Democratic politician.
But the point being, we see this every cycle. I've now been doing this long enough to know that every single cycle, there's some, contrived villain or boogeyman.
This guy completely missed Maher's point, and you can see it all over Maher's face. That mix of disbelief and irritation says everything. No one is trying to turn Mamdani into some manufactured boogeyman. We've said it repeatedly on this channel. He doesn't need anyone's help to look radical. His own words and policy positions handle that on their own. Every concern Maher raised about New York's newly elected mayor wasn't a smear, wasn't an exaggeration. It came straight from Mamdani's own rhetoric and political blueprint. When a politician openly promotes ideas that cut against the core principles of American capitalism, people are going to react. And they should. Maher is simply holding up a mirror, showing the left what they're refusing to acknowledge. If Mamdani ends up looking like a boogeyman in that reflection, that's entirely on him, not on the people pointing it out.
It wasn't this
He's not contrived. He's going to be the mayor of New York.
The thing that I find the most appalling, which is that he defends the expression globalize the intifada.
Yes, correct.
Which explicitly means, and I don't want to hear anyone deny this, everything that the crazy far right alleged about Barack Obama, wasn't born in America, right. Islamist, socialist, right. Anti-Semite, hates America, it's all true about this guy. Right. Okay? It is all true about this guy. And the fact that this man is on the verge of becoming the mayor of the second largest Jewish city in the world is very frightening, and I'm actually really disappointed that more Democrats have either, are not coming out and condemning him and saying we're not going to endorse this guy, because he is beyond the...
Maher called it long before the results were announced. He knew Mamdani was going to win, and he was absolutely right. The signs were obvious, the media buzz, the progressive momentum, and the party's steady shift toward the far left. But Maher didn't just foresee Mamdani's victory. He warned that his rise could spell real trouble for the Democratic Party's future. And honestly, he has a point. Yes, capitalism has flaws. No system is perfect. But socialism isn't the miracle cure the left keeps pretending it is. It sounds noble on paper, full of promises about equality and fairness. But once reality kicks in, Innovation slows, jobs disappear, and government control expands into every part of daily life. Maher understands that drifting towards socialism isn't progress. It's the slow unraveling of the very foundations that made America strong. And if the DNC doesn't snap out of this ideological trance soon, it might find itself waking up far too late.
It seems to me that there are two pillars that this country is founded on. One is democracy, and one is capitalism, free markets. And it seems like one party wants to get rid of one, and the other party wants to get rid of the other. Right? The Republicans are not that, democracy is just not number one on their list. It just isn't. It isn't. It's behind Christianity and a few other things. And the Democrats, I mean, I read these, 74% are for democratic socialism. Only 16% favor capitalism.
And that's exactly how Mamdani, with his Marxist references and openly socialist agenda, managed to climb to the top of the DNC ticket. The Democrats aren't just flirting with socialism anymore. They're fully leaning into it. The shift is impossible to ignore. What used to be a coalition of moderates and progressives is now increasingly dominated by self-identified socialists who view capitalism as the enemy and redistribution as the cure. It's no longer about improving the system. It's about replacing it outright. And while the party's old guard may pretend everything is business as usual, it's only a matter of time before they wake up or get pushed aside. The ideological winds inside the Democratic Party are blowing stronger than ever. And Mamdani isn't the outlier. He's the first wave of a movement that could redefine, or possibly even unravel, the DNC as we know it.
Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars? If we don't, I mean, where are the Democrats going with this? If Mamdani is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that party.
No, this isn't good for the party, and it's definitely not good for the country. With Mamdani gaining momentum on the East Coast and Katie Porter rising on the West, the Democratic Party is drifting into dangerous territory. This isn't just political imbalance. It's a setup for national trouble. America functions best when both major parties keep each other in check, offering competing ideas rooted in logic, not ideology. We need a strong Democratic Party, one that challenges the GOP, not one that imitates the failed promises of socialism. The DNC can reclaim that strength, but only if it reconnects with its core values, freedom, practicality, and balance. Right now, it's walking away from all three, trading them for radical slogans and emotion-driven politics. If this path continues, the damage won't stop at the party itself. It risks destabilizing the political balance that keeps American democracy intact.
New York is New York. It's definitely the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time.
Maher is convinced that a Mamdani victory would all but guarantee a GOP win in the next national election. And honestly, he might be right. It's still early, and politics can shift fast, but Maher has a knack for spotting trends before everyone else catches on. His logic is straightforward. Middle America isn't interested in a socialist experiment. These are working-class voters who stick with capitalism, not because it's flawless, but because they've seen what happens when governments try to replace market incentives with state control and redistribution. Socialism may sound compassionate on paper, but in reality it leads to higher taxes, fewer jobs, and evaporating motivation to work or innovate. So, if the DNC keeps drifting further left under figures like Mamdani, it's essentially handing the next election to the GOP. Maher's warning isn't paranoia. It's political foresight.
It's a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrats, socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela, just bad ideas. And again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Maher once warned that nominating KLA Harris would be the political equivalent of handing Donald Trump the presidency. And as it turned out, he wasn't wrong. At the time, most people brushed him off, calling his prediction cynical or overblown. But now, history looks like it's circling back. Maher's raising the alarm again, this time about Mamdani's rise. He believes Mamdani's election could set the stage for a Republican landslide in 2028. Yet once again, people are shrugging it off. But Maher has a habit of spotting political train wrecks before they happen. He understands voter behavior and the country's deep skepticism toward far-left ideology. Ignoring him a second time would be political malpractice. If the DNC refuses to learn from its own past mistakes, it may end up handing the next election and the White House right back to the GOP.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's, Bernie is, Bernie is, I mean, he's not a capitalist,
No, he's not. And he's also not president.
He's not, but
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people, they boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom. Yeah, but they make anybody into boogeyman.
It has.
I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really.
The names the guest mentioned, Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, and AOC, weren't conjured up as political boogeymen. They built those reputations themselves. Pelosi, for example, became a symbol of political double standards after years of profiting from insider-style stock moves while holding the speaker's gavel. Her well-timed financial gains raised more than a few ethical alarms. Then there's Gavin Newsom, whose leadership has turned California into a full-blown cautionary tale. Rampant homelessness, soaring living costs, and waves of residents leaving the state in frustration over his policies. And of course, AOC, the face of modern woke politics, whose theatrical activism often takes center stage, while workable solutions get pushed aside. So no, the GOP didn't invent the criticism. These politicians handed critics everything they needed. When leaders repeatedly behave in ways that erode public trust, calling them out isn't demonization, it's accountability. And that's exactly what Maher has been emphasizing all along. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.